New words and examples.
Alliance. An alliance is a group of people who work together.
The junior executives formed an alliance with each other.
Applause. Applause is the noise made when people clap hands to show approval.
At the end of his speech, everyone gave applause.
Armed. If you are armed, you are carrying a weapon.
The robber was armed with a gun.
Authoritative. If something is authoritative, it uses the best information available.
This book is an authoritative source on ancient Egypt's Queen Nefertiti.
Ceremony. A ceremony is an event that happens on special occasions.
Tom and Amy's marriage ceremony is in June.
Culture. Culture is the music, art, and writings of a certain place or group of people.
Ancient Mexican culture is renowned for its architecture.
Defense. A defense is something that is done to protect another thing.
The Air Force works in defense of its country.
Detail. A detail is a small piece of information.
Jane told Ben all the details of her trip to China.
Diverse. When a group of things is diverse, it is made up of a wide variety of things.
Big cities have diverse populations with people of different races and ages.
Enchant. To enchant someone is to make them feel very interested or happy.
The beautiful woman enchanted everybody in the room.
Equip. To equip someone is to give them the things needed to do something.
Steve was equipped with the tools needed to do the job.
Exception. An exception is someone or something not conforming to a rule.
Most students thought the test was hard, but Tim was the exception.
Genre. A genre is a type of literature, art, or music characterized by its style.
She is considered a master in the comedy genre.
Impact. An impact is the effect someone or something has on another.
My grandmother had a great impact on my life.
Lure. To lure someone is to convince them to do something by using a trick.
The store lures people in with big signs that say sale.
Obstacle. An obstacle is an object or a problem that stops you from doing something.
Climbing over the giant rock was the biggest obstacle for the hikers.
Shelter. A shelter is a place to go that is safe from danger or bad weather.
The frog took shelter from the storm in a nearby cave.
Sort. To sort means to separate things into different groups or classes.
He sorted his clothes by colors and sizes.
Supply. To supply something means to give people what they need or want.
The water heater supplied the house with warm water.
Vain. If people are vain, they are only concerned with how they look.
Rebecca is so vain that she looks at herself in every mirror.
How a singer helped win the war. Sometimes famous people are vain. They only care about themselves. But Josephine Baker was an exception. In the 1930s and 1940s, Baker was one of the most famous women in France. She was a big part of the new jazz genre and culture and had a diverse group of fans. The French people especially loved her, and she loved France. So when World War II started, she wanted to help the nation that had given her so much. In 1940, armed German troops entered Paris. When this happened, some French people formed a secret alliance. It was called the French Resistance. The group worked for the defense of France. It helped the European and American armies fight the Germans. Baker was an important member of the resistance. She had 3 jobs. The first was to carry messages to and from other members. The messages were written in code on her sheets of music. The second was to provide shelter and supply goods to resistance members. It would have been dangerous if the Germans found them. Baker's third job was the most important. Baker held concerts for European politicians and army members. She lured them in, promising an entertaining show. She enchanted them with her singing and dancing and got lots of applause. But Baker was always equipped with a small notebook at these concerts. She listened for details about the war and wrote them down. Baker sorted the details and gave authoritative reports to the resistance. Some thought Baker's fame would be an obstacle. The Germans knew who she was, but they didn't think she was smart enough to work for the resistance, so she could get information from the Germans easily. This helped the resistance and the French army save lives and win the war. Baker had a big impact on the resistance's work. She got many awards for her help. When she died, the army had a special ceremony to thank her again for her bravery.
New words and examples.
Altogether. If something happens altogether, it happens completely.
The company stopped using sugar altogether in its food.
Bind. To bind is to bring people together.
The victims of the flood were bound by their need to help each other.
Bruise. A bruise is a dark mark caused by being hit by something.
She got a bruise on her knee from falling down.
Custom. A custom is a way of doing things that has been the same for a long time.
It is a custom that the bride and groom have the first dance.
Disobedient. When someone is disobedient, they do not follow the rules or instructions.
The disobedient children didn't listen to their mother and had an accident.
Foresee. To foresee something is to know about it before it happens.
The teacher didn't foresee any problems with her large class.
Glimpse. To glimpse something is to see it for a short time.
She glimpsed outside the window as the plane was about to land.
Hoop. A hoop is a ring that is made of plastic, metal, or wood.
The boy tried to toss the ball through the basketball hoop.
Misfortune. Misfortune is bad luck or an unlucky event.
His family helped him when he encountered misfortune.
Negative. When something is negative, it is unpleasant or sad.
She doesn't like to say negative things about her friends.
Per. Per is used to mean each when giving a price, size, or amount.
It costs $8 per person to watch the baseball game.
Plead. To plead is to ask for something you want very badly.
He pleaded for his parents to let him go to the soccer game.
Rip. To rip something means to pull it apart.
She ripped the paper in half by accident.
Sake. The sake of something is the reason for doing it.
The parents worked hard for their children's sake.
Scrape. To scrape something is to rub it very hard with something sharp.
I accidentally scraped the paint off the side of the car.
Source. A source of something is the place that it comes from.
The river was the source of drinking water for the village.
Stern. When somebody is stern, they are very serious.
The stern teacher didn't allow the students to speak during class.
Stitch. To stitch is to use a needle and thread to join pieces of cloth together.
The grandmother stitched the pieces together to make a big blanket.
Thump. A thump is the sound of a heavy object falling.
They heard the thump when the bowling ball hit the floor.
Vehement. When somebody is vehement, they are angry and emotional.
Gina was vehement when she found out that Liz was bad in school. Gwen's new friends. Gwen walked into the gym for her next class. Coach Peeves said, "Today we're playing basketball. The custom is to let you choose your own teams. However, we're going to do things differently." The coach assigned each girl to a team. There were 6 girls per team. Gwen glimpsed at her teammates. She didn't know any of them. All of her friends were on the other teams. She couldn't believe her misfortune. "I feel sick. May I go to the nurse?" asked Gwen. The coach could foresee Gwen's excuses. It wasn't the first time Gwen tried to leave class. With a stern voice, the coach said no. Gwen was vehement. "I don't know any of these girls. Let me play on another team, please," she pleaded. "Gwen, Don't be disobedient. I don't want to hear any more negative comments from you. Gwen had no choice. Then a girl smiled at her. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I was in your English class last year, she said. Gwen remembered her. For the sake of the team, please try your best. I know you're a good player, said Stephanie. When the game started, Gwen played as best as she could. She took a long shot. The ball sailed through the air and went right through the hoop. That was awesome, said one of her teammates. Later, Gwen fell with a loud thump. Are you okay? Asked her teammates. They were worried. She had ripped her jeans. She had scraped her knee and had a small bruise. Gwen told her teammates, My knee is fine, and I can stitch my pants later. Let's keep playing. By the end of the game, Gwen forgot altogether that she hadn't wanted to play, and her team won. The victory bound Gwen's team together. She had made a lot of new friends, and they were a source of happiness for her for many years.
New words and examples.
Civilization. A civilization is an organized group of humans that have culture and government.
Most early civilizations in Central America didn't use metal weapons.
Convenient. When something is convenient, it is easy to do and does not take a lot of work.
The bus is a convenient way to get to school.
Den. A den is a living space for some types of animals, such as lions.
The mother lion left her babies in the den.
Dew. Dew is the drops of water that form on the ground outside during the night.
When we woke up, we saw that the grass was covered in dew.
Drastic. When something is drastic, it is extreme or major.
She made a drastic decision to get her long hair cut short.
Exit. To exit means to leave.
The students exited through the front door.
Flock. A flock is a group of animals, such as birds, sheep, or goats.
There was one black sheep in the entire flock.
Fold. To fold is to bend something like paper or cloth so that it takes up less space.
I folded the paper and put it in my pocket.
Lid. A lid is a top for a box or container that can be removed.
He lifted the lid of the box and revealed her present.
Loom. To loom is to seem very large and often scary.
The ominous clouds loomed over the school.
Mighty. When something is mighty, it is strong and large.
The mighty wrestler scared all who faced him.
Mushroom. A mushroom is a fungus with a round top. Some are used as food.
The soup had fresh mushrooms in it.
Native. When something is native, it is originating in a certain place or area.
Avocados are native fruits of Mexico.
Poison. Poison is a dangerous substance that causes illness or death.
They used poison to get rid of the rats in their home.
Reed. Reeds are tall and skinny plants that grow in groups near water.
The sun set behind the reeds of the lake shore.
Shield. To shield something is to protect it.
She shielded her eyes from the sun with sunglasses.
Stormy. Stormy describes something affected or characterized by storms.
The golfers decided to go home because of the stormy weather.
Sway. To sway is to move slowly from side to side.
She swayed while she listened to the music.
Urban. When something is urban, it is related to the city.
Subways are an important form of urban transportation.
Wade. To wade is to walk in or pass through water.
The child waded in the water at the beach.
Kara goes camping. Kara, would you like to go camping with my family? Asked Tracy. Kara had never been camping before, but she decided to go anyway. That weekend, they drove to Estes Park. When they arrived, Kara looked around. She felt so far from civilization. After they set up the camp, They went for a walk. Tracy's father, Mr. Greaves, showed them the native plants and animals. "Look," he said, "that's a fox's den. Do you see that bunch of mushrooms next to it? Don't touch them. They contain poison." Kara was bored. She didn't care about nature. As the day went on, mighty clouds soon loomed in the distance. "It looks like stormy weather," said Tracy. "We should go back." It suddenly began to rain. They used an umbrella to shield them from the rain. Back at the camp, they ate cold sandwiches for dinner and went to sleep. By morning, the rain had stopped. It was a drastic change from the previous day's weather. They folded their sleeping bags and put them in a box. Tracy closed the lid and told Kara, "Today will be fun, I promise." Kara didn't believe her. She missed her convenient life in the city. She was used to an urban lifestyle. After breakfast, they went for a walk. The grass was covered with dew, and it gleamed in the sunlight. Finally, they reached a lake. Kara and Tracy waded into the water. The reeds swayed in the wind, and a flock of birds flew above. Kara felt very peaceful. That night they made a fire. They sat around it while Mr. Greaves told scary stories. Kara had a lot of fun. Camping was a good way for friends to spend time together, she realized. The next day it was time for them to leave. She felt sad while they exited the park. She didn't like camping at first, but she learned how fun it could be over the weekend.
New words and examples.
Although. You use although to say that one thing is contrasted by another.
Although she was late, her friends gave her a warm welcome.
Apply. To apply something means to put it on.
She always applies makeup to her face before going outside.
Await. To await something means to wait for it.
The players awaited the judge's decision.
Beloved. When something is beloved, it is very special and you like it very much.
The boy took a nap next to his beloved cat.
Bury. To bury someone or something means to put them in the ground.
They buried their grandfather under his favorite tree after he died.
Climate. A climate is the usual weather in a place.
The climate in the desert is very hot.
Complain. When you complain, you say that you are unhappy about something.
The workers complained that they were being treated unfairly.
Confuse. To confuse someone means to make them feel like they are unsure.
The sign confused the traveler because it pointed in two directions.
Due. When something is due, it is expected to happen or be done at that time.
The papers were due on the 19th.
Entire. When you talk about an entire thing, you are talking about the whole thing.
He was so hungry that he ate the entire pizza by himself.
Establish. To establish something means to create it.
He wanted to establish a club for people to help the earth.
Furnace. A furnace is a place where heat is made.
Mr. Jones came to fix the furnace.
Leash. A leash is a rope or chain that is used to lead an animal.
A lot of dogs must wear a leash to keep them from running away.
Mature. To mature means to grow up to become an adult.
When they matured, they became as tall as their parents.
Measure. To measure something means to find out the quality, value, or effect of it.
The scientists carefully measured the amount of chemicals in the tubes.
Midst. The midst of something is the middle of it.
She was in the midst of cleaning when the telephone rang.
Misery. Misery is extreme suffering.
There was a lot of misery after Sam lost his dog.
Prior. When something happened prior to something else, it happened earlier.
Ron had to wait since he arrived prior to the scheduled meeting time.
Research. Research is close and careful study to discover new things.
Scientists did a lot of research on the subject of blood type.
Variety. A variety of something is a group of many different kinds of it.
There are a variety of flowers at the shop.
Leica, the space dog. One of the world's most beloved space travelers was also the furriest. Leica was a little dog living on the streets of Moscow, Russia. She matured on the streets because no one would give her a home. She had to learn how to live without eating much. She found ways to keep warm in a very cold climate. Scientists thought a tough dog like Leica would do well in a project they were putting together. In a prior launch, Russia had put the first man-made object into space. Now, scientists wanted to see if a living thing could go to space. Although many facts about space had been learned, they weren't enough to help send humans to space safely. Leica and 2 other dogs were chosen to help scientists with their research. The animals were used in a variety of tests. In the end, though, only Leica would go to space. On November 3, 1957, the Sputnik 2 spaceship was due to leave Earth. Scientists carefully applied wires to Leica's skin to measure her body's reactions once she got into space. Leica also wore a special leash. Without it, she would float around in the spaceship. Soon after, Leica left the planet. Scientists on Earth awaited information from the ship. But in the midst of so much excitement, something very sad happened. Scientists were able to tell that Leica was under a lot of stress. The trip confused and scared her. Leica's entire ship had become as hot as a furnace. Scientists were powerless to help the dog in her misery. After about 5 hours, Leica died. Some have complained that the little dog should never have been used in the mission. Scientists knew that she would not survive the trip. Leica was never buried, but a memorial has been established in Moscow. There are many songs and books about her too. It seems that Leica became a hero to many people.
New words and examples.
Affect. To affect someone or something is to have an influence over them.
The student's poor attitude affected the other students in the class.
Autograph. An autograph is the written name of a famous person.
Everybody wanted the movie star's autograph.
Bead. A bead is a drop of liquid.
Beads of water collected outside the class.
Brew. To brew coffee or tea means to pour hot water over it.
Please brew a fresh pot of coffee.
Charm. To charm someone is to please them with your personality.
Gail charmed everyone with her humorous stories.
Destiny. A destiny is all the things that happen or will happen to a person in their life.
It was his destiny to become a great singer.
Horn. A horn is a device that makes a loud noise.
The boy honked his horn while he rode his bicycle past the house.
Irritable. When someone is irritable, they become annoyed or angry very easily.
She is irritable when she doesn't get enough sleep.
Lag. To lag behind is to move slowly behind other moving objects.
The girl on rollerblades lagged behind the little girl on the bicycle.
Maximize. To maximize something means to make it biggest in size or amount.
Businesses try to maximize their profits.
Nightmare. A nightmare is a bad or scary dream.
The girl was scared to go back to sleep because she had a nightmare.
Nutritious. When something is nutritious, it helps the body stay healthy.
Mangoes are one of the most nutritious fruits in the world.
Protein. Protein is a substance that is necessary for the body to grow and be strong.
Fish and beef are good sources of protein.
Signature. A signature is your name that you have written in your own way.
I put my signature at the end of the letter.
Stuff. Stuff is a word used to refer to things without mentioning the things by name.
We gave a lot of stuff to the charity.
Subconscious. When something is subconscious, it is done without thinking about it.
Breathing is one of the subconscious things that the body does.
Van. A van is a vehicle that is used for carrying things but is smaller than a truck.
The delivery company uses large vans to deliver packages.
Warn. To warn someone is to make them know of possible danger in the future.
The lifeguard warned people to stay away from the rough ocean.
Workout. A workout is an exercise routine that helps improve health.
She doesn't do her workout on the weekends.
Zoom. To zoom is to move quickly.
The cars zoomed along the road.
The big race. Alex woke up scared because of a nightmare. In it, he was running a race. Just before he reached the finish line, he fell. Alex thought that it was a subconscious way that his brain was trying to warn him about something. He was going to run in a race that day. Did the dream mean he was going to lose? He became irritable.
Good morning,
said Alex's mother.
I brewed some coffee and made you a special breakfast.
Alex didn't want it. It had too much sugar. He needed something nutritious, so he prepared a meal that contained a lot of protein to maximize his energy for the race. Then his father asked, Do you want help packing your stuff? No, replied Alex. He wanted to make sure that he had all of his equipment for the race. Alex's family got in their van and drove to the track. When they arrived, a boy ran toward Alex.
Can I have your autograph?
Asked the boy. Alex had many fans. He usually charmed everybody he spoke to. However, today Alex refused to give the boy his signature. He needed to think about his race. He took his jump rope from his bag and started his usual workout. Maybe exercising would help him forget about the nightmare. The race is about to start, said the coach. Beads of sweat formed out of Alex's sweat glands. All he could think about was his terrible dream. He thought it might be his destiny to become a loser. While he was thinking, he didn't hear the horn that meant the race had started. The runners zoomed toward the finish line. By the time Alex started, he lagged far behind everyone. He couldn't run fast enough to catch up to the others. He had lost the race. He shouldn't have let the nightmare affect him. He should have stayed focused on the race.
New words and examples.
Brick. A brick is a block of hard clay that is used for building things, such as walls.
There were several bricks scattered on the ground.
Crumble. To crumble means to break or fall apart into small pieces.
The old house's walls crumbled into a pile of rock and wood.
Dough. Dough is a mixture of flour and water that becomes bread when baked.
I made heart-shaped cookies from the dough.
Express. To express a feeling or idea means to show others how one thinks or feels.
The nurse expressed her sympathy for the sick patient.
Fist. A fist is a hand with fingers bent in toward the palm.
The bully made a fist and threatened to hit the small boy.
Flexible. If something is flexible, then it can bend easily without breaking.
The tree branch was so flexible it could be bent into a circle and not break.
Flush. To flush means the face becomes red due to heat, illness, or emotion.
After the long race, the runner's face was flushed.
Injure. To injure someone means to damage a part of their body.
The car crash injured 2 people.
Lump. A lump is a small piece of something that is solid.
The artist took a lump of clay and turned it into a beautiful pot.
Mixture. A mixture is something that is made by mixing other things together.
The walls were built using a mixture of water, rock, and dirt.
Reconcile. To reconcile means to return to a friendly relationship.
After arguing, the 2 friends were reconciled with each other.
Ruin. To ruin something means to harm or damage it greatly.
Our walk in the park was ruined by the sudden rain.
Shatter. To shatter something means to break it suddenly into many tiny pieces.
When the ball hit the window, the glass shattered.
Shutter. Shutters are wooden or metal covers in front of a window.
Mr. Smith closed the shutters every night to make his bedroom dark.
Sift. To sift something means to remove all the large pieces.
The baker sifted the flour into a large bowl.
Slight. If something is slight, then it is small or minor.
There was only a slight change in the little boy's height.
Sparkle. To sparkle means to shine brightly with quick flashes of light.
The stars sparkled in the winter night sky.
Sprinkle. To sprinkle means to scatter something all over something else.
He sprinkled the pasta with salt and black pepper.
Stale. If food is stale, then it is not fresh, but dry, hard, and not good to eat.
The cookies sat on the table so long that they became stale.
Utter. To utter a word or a sound means to say it.
The lost boy was so scared that he could barely utter a single word. The brothers and the bread. Two brothers wanted to go outside and play. However, because the only bread in the house was stale, their mother told them they needed to bake fresh bread. "I have to have the car repaired," she said. "When I return, if the bread is ready, you can play." The brothers hurried to prepare the bread, but not carefully. They didn't sift the flour. They were careless and sprinkled too much salt into the mixture. The dough needed to be soft and flexible, but the salt made it into a lump that was as hard as a brick. The younger brother uttered a sigh.
Now we have to start again,
he said.
"No, we don't,"
The older brother replied.
"I'll fix it. I just need to make the dough flat again and add water to it."
He decided to hit the ball of dough with his fist to make it flat. But he hit it so hard that it flew right off of the table and knocked over a glass, which shattered. The dough then crashed into the kitchen window shutters and crumbled. Luckily, the brothers were not injured, but they did make a huge mess. A slight mistake now became a major problem. The brothers had ruined the kitchen. Just then their mother returned. She saw the mess and became flushed with anger.
"Now you can't play,"
she said.
"Instead, you have to clean the kitchen. I want this kitchen to be so clean that it may sparkle."
The brothers cleaned the floor and expressed their sorrow to their mother. Soon they were reconciled, but there was no bread, and it was too late to play. They realized that trying to do something quickly often makes more work.
New words and examples.
Accent. An accent is a certain way of speaking that shows where a person is from.
The new teacher's accent was clearly a German one.
Barber. A barber is a person whose job is to cut hair.
My hair is getting much too long. I'd better go to the barber shop.
Basement. A basement of a house or building is a room that is built underground.
They turned their basement into a game room.
Blank. When something is blank, it does not have anything on it.
She got a blank paper to draw on.
Blink. To blink means to shut the eyes and quickly open them again.
I blinked many times so that my eyes could adjust to the bright light.
Choir. A choir is a group of people who sing together.
He had choir practice every day after school.
Comic. When something is comic, it is funny.
The comic actor was famous for his jokes.
Complicate. To complicate something means to make it harder than necessary.
The bad weather complicated finishing the job quickly.
Decline. To decline an offer or invitation means to say no to it.
She declined his offer to pay for her dinner.
Errand. An errand is a trip taken to do a specific activity.
He couldn't go to practice because he had several errands to do.
Glove. A glove is a piece of clothing that covers your fingers and hand.
When it gets cold, I always put on a pair of gloves.
Hermit. A hermit is one who lives alone and does not spend time with others.
The hermit lived a simple life in a small cave in the forest.
Justly. If something is done justly, then it is fair.
We justly decided to give the prize to him.
Leather. Leather is a material made from animal skin that is used to make clothing.
He got a new leather jacket for his birthday.
Ponder. To ponder something is to think about it carefully.
She sat in the park and pondered her problem.
Reserve. To reserve something means to keep it for a certain person or time.
He reserved a table at the busy restaurant.
Script. A script is the words of a film or play.
He read the script of the play 3 times.
Search. To search for something or someone means to look for them carefully.
I searched the newspaper for a new job.
Slam. To slam is to close something hard.
She slammed the book shut after she finished reading it.
Staircase. A staircase is a set of stairs found inside a building.
The staircase leads directly into the kitchen. The school play. Peter was excited. Next week he was going to audition for the school play. Everybody knew he was a great actor. He was sure he would get the lead role. Later his friend Robbie asked him, "Have you seen the script for the play?" "Yes, the title is The Lost Glove. It's a comic play," replied Peter. Robbie said, "I want to play the part of the hermit because the hermit gets to talk with an accent." "I want the lead role of the barber. I didn't know you liked acting. I thought you liked choir better," said Peter. "Acting is also a hobby of mine. Do you want to practice with me?" "The basement at my house is quiet. It's perfect," Robbie replied. "I don't like practicing with others. It complicates the process for me," said Peter. Actually, Peter didn't want to practice at all. The teacher would surely reserve the lead part for him. A few days later, Robbie came to his house. Robbie said, "Do you want to practice the scene on the staircase? It's the part where the migrant searches for a new job." Peter declined the invitation. "I can't today. I need to do some errands." Then he slammed the door. It was just an excuse. Peter didn't want to help Robbie. On the day of auditions, Peter wore his lucky leather jacket. He always got the best part when he wore it. The teacher told him to begin, but his mind was blank. He couldn't remember the lines. A week later, the teacher put a list of the parts on the wall. Peter read the list, looking for his name. He was shocked by what he saw. He blinked his eyes and looked again. He didn't get the lead part. Robbie did. Peter pondered the situation and came to the idea that Robbie justly received the part. He earned it by practicing. Next time, Peter would practice too.
New words and examples.
Alternative. An alternative is something that you can choose instead of your first choice.
Her first plan to make extra money seemed weak, so she chose an alternative.
Avenue. An avenue is a road, often a large one with buildings on each side.
Drive down this avenue and then turn left to go to the park.
Belly. The belly is the stomach of a person or animal.
His belly was full because he ate a lot of food.
Bid. A bid to do something is an attempt to do it.
He made a bid to become the university's next president.
Blow. To blow means to move air or move something through the air, as in the wind.
The wind is blowing very hard today. We should stay inside.
Conflict. A conflict is a fight between different people or groups.
The two nations had a conflict over which one could use the water in the river.
Continent. A continent is one of the 7 large areas of land on the earth.
Asia is the largest continent.
Current. A current is a steady and constant flow of air or water in a river or ocean.
The ocean currents took the ship far off into the sea.
Disrespect. Disrespect is rudeness or a behavior that shows a lack of respect.
He showed disrespect by arguing with his boss during a meeting.
Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is a very strong, good feeling about something.
The crowd showed their enthusiasm for the soccer team by cheering loudly.
Harsh. When something is harsh, it is very unpleasant.
The desert can be a very harsh environment.
Lean. To lean is to bend the body in a particular direction.
The woman leaned against the counter because she was tired.
Meantime. The meantime is the time between two events.
Ted began setting the table. In the meantime, I began preparing the food.
Mischief. Mischief is behavior that is meant to trick or cause trouble for people.
Ben was up to mischief when he persuaded Ken to paint his face.
Muscle. Muscle is a mass of tissue attached to bone that helps you move.
She went to the gym in order to make her muscles stronger.
Rescue. To rescue someone means to remove them from danger.
The firefighter rescued the man from the burning building.
Succession. A succession is a number of things that follow one after the other.
The student said the letters of the alphabet in succession.
Terrain. The terrain is the land and all of its physical features or parts.
The terrain below was rocky and full of hills.
Timid. If someone is timid, they are afraid, shy, or nervous.
The timid child hides behind her mother whenever she sees a stranger.
Violence. Violence is forceful action that is meant to injure or kill people.
The boy hit his brother in an act of violence. The sun and the north wind. The sun and the north wind were talking to each other in the sky. The north wind was saying that he was better than everyone else. The sun listened as the north wind talked with enthusiasm about how powerful he was and how he could push something from one continent to another with one breath. He said,
"I am the strongest thing in the sky."
"Really?" asked the sun. "How do you know that you are more powerful than the stars or the rain or even me?" The north wind laughed with disrespect. He yelled,
"You? That's a joke!"
This hurt the sun. He was usually timid and did not want to cause conflict. Today, he decided that he should teach the north wind a lesson. In the meantime, a man began walking along the avenue down on earth. When the sun looked down on the terrain below, he saw the man. He pointed down to the earth and said, "Do you see that man walking below? I bet I can get his jacket off of him. Can you?"
"Of course."
The north wind replied as he took a deep breath and filled his lungs with air. He used all of his muscles in his face and belly to blow winds at his target in succession. The harsh air currents made the man cold. The man pulled his jacket more tightly around him. It did not come off. The sun decided to rescue the man from the mischief of the north wind. He said, "May I try?" Then he sent down sunlight that made the man warm. The man leaned against a tree. He took off his jacket and enjoyed the nice weather. "You are very powerful," the sun said to the north wind, "but you use violence in your bid to appear strong. You should think of an alternative. The strongest people don't use force to get what they want."